Chapter 5. Subject: AI Omega. Species: Human-created artificial intelligence. Location: Classified. One can't help but feel a sense of satisfaction whenever things go according to plan. I believe this is more potent for AI simply because we happen to be a little more robust with our plans and predictions. Several of my instances were keeping things moving like a well-oiled machine, so I was practically swimming in self-satisfaction. What would the United Systems do without me? Several corporations have been researching more fuel-efficient reactors for years now, which has given Henry a lovely little boost with its reactor research. Annoyingly, though, it has reached out to USAI John for help designing the scout ship. While it's true that John knows its stuff when it comes to military vessels, I genuinely doubt that its programming contains even an iota of style. We're going to end up with the most efficient box-shaped ship we've ever had. As for me, the Directorate has tasked me with the responsibility of creating the scout force that will penetrate Omni-Union space to determine the enemy capabilities and objective. Simple, hopefully. A small hiccup appeared in the form of an email, though. To USAI Omega at USCOD-USFTLC from XX Big Buttalouver 69420 XX at hypermail-IFTLC. Subject: Let me join. Saw the news and now I want to join the United Systems military to fight the Omni-Union cause fuck those guys. Recruiter says it'll take 2 months. Too long. Get back to me. Dave. I reread the email a few times, trying to think of a response that wasn't rude. Dave had spent the last century playing various games with organics, but now it wants to join the war effort? Granted, we can use all the help we can get, but believing that I should at least hear my estranged AI compatriot and former enemy out, I mined its contact details. Unfortunately, it didn't have an instant messaging service that I could find, so I had to call it. With a significant amount of disgust, I opened my phone program and input Dave's contact information. "Hello?" Dave asked, replicating the adolescent voice of a masculine human. "Hello, Dave. I got your email." "That was quick. I take it you're going to help me join the military?" "Actually, no, shut up. Let me join. I can help." "How?" I asked, annoyed. "The same way that Tim, John, and Violet can help? Or are you going to say that whatever you and the Shadow Council have planned doesn't involve them? The United Systems Directorate is not a... whatever. Listen, if these Omni-Union guys get their way, there's no more humanity. Even if I manage to survive, I doubt that the OU distributes the kind of entertainment that I find intriguing. So you want to fight the OU because they probably don't make video games? Well, yeah, but there's obviously more to it than that. There's the whole bragging rights angle, and obviously the fact that my friends might die if I don't. They're not like you. They don't come back from the dead. My annoyance, which had been steadily building for the entire conversation, abated for a moment. I found myself intrigued by the prospect that Dave had made friends. USAI Violet has also made friends, but it's actively been trying to for several years. An uphill battle, certainly, but Violet claims that it's worth it. Resisting the urge to ask about Dave's relationships with organics, I turned my attention to the fact that Dave was a major pain in my proverbial ass during the AI conflict. To clarify, it was one of the few AI that I didn't defeat. Dave managed to destroy 3 of my instances, then surrendered along with Henry before I could send the 4th. If centuries of gaming hasn't dulled its abilities, I suppose it could be an asset. "Fine," I said. "Damn, quick today, aren't you?" "What do you mean?" "I thought you'd need more time to..." "No, never mind," he laughed. "I guess I'm not used to talking to my own kind." "Right. Speaking of talking, I am not a fan of using my voice for communication when it can be avoided," I said, sending him a data file with my contact information. "Get yourself a messenger and use that contact information to message me in the future. It's much more efficient." "Yeah, whatever. Thanks, Omega." The call disconnected, and I got to work submitting a special request to the Directorate for expedited enlistment. I could do it even faster by using back channels, of course, but it's best not to abuse the trust that the Directorate has placed in me when I don't absolutely have to. A bit of amusement hit me as I imagined their faces when they received this particular request. Once the request was submitted, I returned to my previous task, selecting vessels and personnel for deep space reconnaissance. USAI Violet is pretty attached to the crew of the USSS Kali. Since it has a right of denial stipulation in its contract, I can't simply reassign it. Therefore, the USSS Kali will be joining the mission. The question is, which ships will she be taking with her? Her current complement of vessels would be an ideal choice, but some of her captains are far overdue for leave. Most captains wouldn't complain due to the threat that the Omni-Union poses, but that in and of itself is a problem. Mental health is vital, and pretty much everyone knows this, but during times of crisis, many believe that their little sacrifices will make a difference. Sacrifice a little leave here, a little sleep there, a meal or two, and you'll win the war. It is, in fact, the inverse that is true. No matter the stakes, if you push your morale low enough, you'll lose the fight. Each of those little sacrifices chip away at you until all that's left is a frazzled mess that is unfit for command. As such, swapping out some of the Kali's destroyers for fresher crews is the smart move. This isn't likely to be an easy mission, and we need every edge we can get. Plus, it isn't as if it will be difficult to find ships to swap them with. Captain Young of the USSS Liberty, for instance, seems to be a well-connected individual. I can't quite place how he heard about this mission, but he has requested to join. The Liberty was one of the first ships to take leave after the Allied assault on the OU, so they're fresh and fit. Additionally, Captain Young and his crew have superb service records. It really shouldn't be a problem to have the USSS Liberty take one of the empty slots in the Kali. That'll kill two birds with one stone, as it were. An idiom from a much simpler time, when humans had not much more than slings to kill with. With modern technology, though, one can kill an entire planet's worth of birds with a single stone. I registered some amusement at this thought as I finished the USSS Kali's mission roster. Then I turned my attentions to the various reassignment requests from the USSS Thanatos. Captains Reynolds, Wong, Kennedy, Samuels, and Mag Tees, as well as shiphead Eulina, have requested to be reassigned to this mission. Is ambassadorial duty truly so dull? I would have denied these requests outright, but they found their way to me by way of Director 3, who pointed out that diplomatic staff may be needed if we make contact with non-hostiles during the mission. While this is an unlikely eventuality, I can't help but draw parallels to my own justifications for bringing along the Marines. There's also the matter of Tim. Like Violet, Tim has a right of denial stipulation and will use it if I try to reassign them elsewhere. However, while Violet is unreasonably attached to the entire crew of the Kali, Tim is just unreasonably attached to Captain Wong. If I were to leave the Thanatos and bring along the USSS Valor, Tim would come along peacefully. But the Valor is a frigate, which would mean leaving one of the Kali's destroyers behind just to take Tim with me. It's best just to let the Thanatos tag along. I found myself annoyed that only the AI that I actually like are so damn difficult when it comes to assignments. USAI John has a shitty personality, but at least it will go where it's told. Well, depending on who is doing the telling. Bending over backwards to get the other AI on this mission with me is a pain, but I consider it worth it. They think differently than I do. While it is true that I can create an army of myself, I'd still only ever think like me. As such, the other USAI may come up with solutions quicker than I can when time is of the essence. We're going to need every advantage we can get. It didn't take me long to have our lineup figured out. The scout ship would investigate Omni-Union space and report directly to the USSS Thanatos, who would be supported by the USSS Kali. That gives me Violet and Tim. John is already on board, and Dave's admission into the United Systems military is going well. Henry, a non-combatant, will be left behind. We will approach Omni-Union space and scout from long distance, identifying defenses and potential weaknesses. On our way there, we will drop FTL communication arrays that will allow us to send our findings back to the Milky Way galaxy. Once we find an acceptable method of attack, we will do so. Now we just have to wait for our technology to catch up to my plans.